on our menu for tonight for entree, we'll be reviewing Draft Rugby Round 4. For main course, previewing Round 5 coming up this weekend. And for dessert, really short and simple one. We're going to tip who we think will be the top fantasy player in each of the 4 games on the weekend, and see how we go. We didn't exactly get all our tips right for the results this weekend, but I won't throw any spoilers out there. We'll get into that. So, with no further ado, the entree. The buys this week were the Reds and the Highlanders, and the first game of the weekend. What a ripper. Absolutely fantastic rugby. Really set the tone. No, I'm joking. It was a terrible game. We had the Tars and the Rebels. Harry, why don't you rip into that?
Yeah, sure thing, mate. This is not the one that I was looking forward to be honest. But look, I think after an awesome week of Super Rugby AU last week, which kind of restored my faith a little bit, you know, I'm the eternal optimist. I knew that Rugby AU had it in them. This one kind of came crashing back down to earth a little bit. The Waratahs went down 10-29 in Sydney against the Rebels. You had a fair few players coming back for this one. You had Corabetti coming back from his concussion on the back of that clothesline from the Hunter. Matt Given coming back off the bench from a shoulder injury as well. Had Cameron Orr getting his first start, who looked very good. Big raps on him. And you had Jake Gordon coming back for his first game of AU as well, coming off the bench from a hammy injury as well. Jordan Ulisi in this game did his ankle badly in the warm-up, and they had video footage of him rolling on the ground in agony. They ended up taping it up, and I think he played like 50 or 60 minutes, didn't he?
Yeah, that's club footy right there. They look like they didn't just tape it up. They put like 10 layers on. They were just look, your ankle can't come off your foot now.
That's the problem, right? Like, it's pre-game. They could just take the boot off and do it properly. And they've gone, if we take this off, your shoe's not going back on because your ankle's going to blow up. So I think that might be the last time we see him for a little while. I think he did very well to soldier on, having said that.
Is that a treatment you recommend to your patients? Just cover it in tape until you can't see it anymore and it should be right?
Well, if it's Super Rugby AU, mate, there's only a couple of weeks to go. Why not? He's not having another run for a few months, really. So I can understand what he was going for.
Mate, they should have just taped some ice in there as well. You know what I mean? So it's icing and being supported all at the same time and go out there and play. That's, what I mean, right?
Genius. You've really started something for sure there, mate. DHP also came off with a knee injury in the second half. I think he didn't come back on at half time. So that had a big reshuffle in the back line, which was pretty disruptive for the Rebels, which they dealt with quite well, to be honest. You had Pony Fa'amasili come off with, we think, a calf injury. Everyone's favourite player in Super Rugby AU this year. So that was pretty devastating. Hopefully that's not too serious, but we haven't got too much more detail on how severe it is just yet.
He's certainly one of my favourite players, but he wasn't this week. I was up against him in fantasy, and he was on 40-odd points by half-time, so I was cheering when he went off, but yeah.
He's so good. And Captain Mud, Rob Simmons, on the back of a couple of good games by his standards, came off with broken ribs, apparently played on for a fair while with them as well, so toughed it out for the good of the Waratahs as one of the big senior leaders there, so credit to him for that. But
I won't condone that credit. That credit could just be you alone, just to be fair, yeah.
For toughing it out, mate. Come on, give the guy a break. Credit where credit's due. Look, the big takeaway for this one really was just I've never seen a game that was more one-sided in possession and territory. So the Rebels had 71% possession, 75% of the territory, and they just controlled the ball the entire time. The Waratahs gave away a huge amount of penalties, 17 penalties and a couple of yellow cards, and they just couldn't get out of their own half. Every time they kicked the ball, the Rebels would just attack it back, and then they just camped up in the Waratahs 50 the entire game.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It basically ended up a battle between the Waratahs' ill discipline and terrible set piece versus the Rebels' inability to actually do anything with the ball. And they kicked a couple of penalties and got out to 9 points. And then with maybe 2 minutes to go, Corabetti does what Corabetti does. And he picked the ball up from the base of a ruck and then ran 20 metres and scored untouched, as he somehow continually does. No one seems to be watching for him to do it every time he goes to pick the ball up. So credit to him as well. Very, very good.
That's it. He just resorts to sorry, I've got some lag, I think. I was going to say he resorts to under 5 footy. He just goes, I'm just going to pick it up and go. And just,
so effective though. Shocker from Michael Hooper, I thought, on this one. He gave away 5 penalties and a yellow card, and he's just compounding errors, gave away an advantage and then he would knock the ball on or vice versa. He just looked like he was all over the shop, and I think just clearly frustrated from the big loss last week, and he didn't really have the time to have anything go against him this week.
Yeah.
Shout out as well, Matt Tamua, I thought was best on park, and he was the fantasy man of the match, having said that as well. 66 points for him, 8 runs, 45 metres, 5 tackle busts, 3 line breaks, an offload, 5 penalty goals, and 2 conversions as well. Controlled the game well, set up all the Rebels' attacking rate, and kicked his goals very, very well as well.
Yeah, he looks solid.
To seal this one up, you had Corabetti on 56 points, Lawrence on 47, Pony, as you said, in a very short amount of time on 46, and Tom Horton was the Waratahs' best, the young hooker, on 41 points. And just quickly as well, the metres run in this one, the Waratahs 165 metres, so similar to, I don't know, Richie Mwanga in any game at the moment, and the Rebels on 527 metres.
Yeah, wowzers. Was that, I mean, does that include the minus 100 metres that Rob Simmons got the Tars as well? Or does that, like, how does that work there? No.
Mate, you got to give the guy a pat in the back when he does something good.
Still the only player to get negative metres in a game. But, no, very good. Let's move on. I agree. Tamua was outstanding. I thought that was some of his best footy. He's realised that, you know, if he puts his hand up, he can be the Wallabies 10 this year. So if he keeps playing that way, maybe he will. But yes, alas, that takes us on to a ripping game of footy. The Crusaders going down to the Hurricanes, 32-34, 4 tries to 3 to the Crusaders. Who would have thunk it? Certainly none of us. I think we all tipped it the wrong way.
One of the boys tipped it. Wiley tipped it, mate.
No, get out.
He did. He put money on it as well.
Was he must
36 games unbeaten at home, and Wiley picks the upset by the Hurricanes.
So he obviously made a mistake. He hit the wrong side of the table.
He was definitely claiming it.
Well, we need to go back and ask Wiley how many beers down he was when he made that decision. But that's outstanding, mate. He's been ripping them on the TAB recently.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, very good. All right, returning in this one, we had Ben May returned from being pulled pre-game last week.
Yeah, so we don't know what it was, but he missed last week pre-game. He didn't take the field, and actually got promoted to the starting lineup late in this one as well, with Tyrell Lomax being pulled late.
That's it. So some prop is always pulled, but for some reason, the only prop I want to see starting, Alex Fidow, can't get on there to start on the field. You know what I mean? Jesus, just give the man a run. But anyway, so he was the only returning. Injured in this one, Fraser Armstrong did a shoulder. Peter Umaga-Jensen, concussion. I can't remember how late that was in the game.
Very late.
Pretty late, I thought, yeah. Laumape, broken wrist. He obviously played the full game, but this is an injury afterwards.
No, he got injured. He came off.
God, all right. My recollection
He came off, and he's said now on his own Twitter feed that he's done for Aotearoa and going to be targeting the international calendar. So, yeah, pretty massive loss for the Hurricanes in very good form.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hope that, was it broken wrist? That's what normally, it can be 8 weeks or something. I hope he's back ready for the international calendar. The way he's been playing, as we said.
Basic fracture, 5 or 6 weeks. But if it's through both bones and he has to have a pin and plate, you know, hopefully it's basic, put it that way.
Yeah, I think everyone was saying last week he's a shoo-in for the All Blacks 12, the way he has been playing. But, you're never a shoo-in. But
you got to convince the coach, don't you?
That's true. All right, so this one, what a game. Down to the absolute wire. Richie Mo'unga. Say no more, really. I was thinking, has there been a fly half that scored over 100 points? Has that happened since we've been playing fantasy footy? No.
Foley had a few big scores in his day, but I don't think anyone ever has. It's ridiculous.
Since we're there, I'll just say it. It's 100. Richie Mo'unga had 109 fantasy points, 12 runs for 92 metres, 12 tackle busts, 4 line breaks, an offload, a try assist, a try, and he kicked 2 penalty goals and 4 conversions. So he was just on fire.
There's no wonder you're on top of the table with him in your team. Put it that way.
He is the bedrock. It's true. I think he said in the OG League report that how have I not named my team after him yet? I've got to come up with another Richie pun. I don't know. I could just name my Richie Mo'unga. Got to
That's
be more
what I
clever
did
than
with
that.
Damien McKenzie, didn't I?
Yeah.
I've run out of puns after 3 years of having him in my team. Damien McKenzie, 15.
That's it. Now, Artie Sevilla. Okay. You've said here officially back to his best. You're ready to call it official. I thought he's been. I mean, I've had the bias of having him in my team, but I thought he's been back to pretty close to it the last few weeks.
I agree. I thought 3 weeks ago was his first good game,
Mm.
and he's kind of built. He was really quite solid last week, and he's just barnstorming against a pretty awesome defence this week. So yeah, back to his best.
He sent Bryn Hall flying. It's a great little tidbit, been replayed on the socials quite a few times. But all right, in this one, it was 17-21 at half time, so a close one. Crusaders didn't get off to an absolute flyer. I actually can't remember the first few tries in the first half.
It was Wes Houston
For the double, that's right.
off the back of Peter Umunga Jensen.
Mm.
And I think then Wes Houston got the second one at Houston, got the second one as well, just burning the outside of the Fetuli Pea, the outside centre that was playing in place of Braden Enor, just put the afterburners on and he couldn't keep up with him and just kind of strolled over the line. Whereas I think the Crusaders scored through Richie Moe off the back of a line-out move, darted over himself. And then there was that George Bridge, tap on over the line.
Oh, yeah.
Sever Reese broke the line, Marika Corabetti style next to the ruck. And threw the huge right to left. Who knew that he had that? Not quite long enough, though. But George Bridge, the class that he is, just that little one-touch chip chase, ridiculous.
That's it. You have to think George Bridge has played some soccer in his days. That was a great finesse right there. But Geordie Radar Barrett. God, I can't even speak English these days. He was kicking them from everywhere. It was incredible.
I'm calling for that to be his official name this year. Radar. He said every time the kick matters, it doesn't matter how wide he is, and they're always wide with the Hurricanes. He nails every single one. It's outrageous. Yeah, no,
it's insane. He's a big game player. He wants to take I think he's just spurred on. He wants to take the chocolates over brother Bodie. He wants to always be the preferred kicker. I think he will be. So
100%.
I think he's done it. But yeah, all right. Quickly, some match stats for this one. Crusaders 56% possession in the first half. Overall 71 in the second half. So really brought it home, and they had 70% territory in the second as well. So they really just ramped it up. But somehow the Hurricanes still got there. Meters 592 to 292. Wowzers. Tackle bust 41-19. Line break 16-9. Offload 16-1. Jesus, looking at these stats, how did the Hurricanes win?
No,
just saying.
Crazy.
But quite a few penalties in this one, 11 to 8, and a yellow card for the Crusaders as well. Who copped the yellow? God, my memory, mate, it's shockers. But
so what happens when you go to the pub?
That's it. Fantasy in this one, Richie Mo 109, as we said. Sevu 84. It's not a bad score either. Will Jordan 57 in a quiet game for him, I thought. And the Hurricanes, Wes Houston 62 points, and Umunga Jensen continuing to impress with 47.
Huge. Right. The Force Brumbies. So I would say the Brumbies were good to watch out of Super Rugby AU this week. Not sure I could say the same about the Force. It was 24 to a duck egg, 0 points for the Force this week. And, we said if there was one game where the Force might get put away, it would be this one. It was a shutout. I don't know if it was a completely put away, but yeah, they were never in the game really within 6 minutes. Basically, let's be honest, it was the Tom Wright show.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely ridiculous. The Brumbies scored 4 tries and he had a hand in every single one of them. I think he scored the first himself. Am I right in saying that?
He did, yep.
The last pass back in. But made 2 huge line breaks down the left-hand side within the first 6 minutes. Pete Samu had a hand in one of them as well. Awesome to see him running down the left, palming someone off and throwing the offload to Tom Wright. And then I think in the second half, you had Will Miller who went over after a pass through from Tom Wright, a little dummy and give. And then Ira Simone, same thing, long 70-metre try against the run of play. And Tom Wright was in there with Joe Powell and Ira himself a couple of times.
That's it. Through all the hands. That's the kind of support play you want to see.
And no rolling maul tries for some reason. Flower Fainga just kept absolutely quiet. So it's been a long time. I think he was tied with maybe the second most tries in a row in games in a row ever. So that was all over for him. Disappointing. What else about this game, mate? I thought Bailey Quenzel, who got his first start with Noah Lolesio having his 8-week hamstring injury, thought he was very, very good. Just controlled the game really well. Kicks, huge touchline conversions as well, like they were nothing. Runs the ball, has all the skills. So what a handy backup as another, starting debutant for the Brumbies to have, and they can just roll them out like it's nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we touched on it last week. I like him because he's a big unit, but it's very easily overlooked that he was neck and neck with Lolesio at the start of the season for that jersey. So he's must be absolutely frothing at the bit now, having his chance.
And I think the actual man of the match in this one was Ira Simone. I mean, it's hard to go past Tom Wright, to be honest, but it was Ira Simone who just continues to look better and better and better in that 12 jersey. He has an absolutely mammoth punt. There was one time when the Brumbies had kind of lost the ball off a loose pass and they were running backwards. He kind of palmed someone off and then running sideways as he regathered the ball, just put like a little pop kick through from just outside of his own 22 and ended up kicking it about 15 metres out from the Western Forces line for a huge 50-22 that ended up in one of their tries. I think it might have been Will Miller's try. Just crazy out of nowhere. He's just got every skill. Apparently, he's always had the biggest boot in the team, and that's saying something when you got Tom Banks. But they've just been working on the accuracy of his kick over the break. And I mean, the proof's in the pudding. He's looking very, very good.
Yeah, what an option.
Absolutely. I hope he gets the Wallabies test this year, to be honest. If we got Nani Laumape at the All Blacks, can we get Ira in at the Wallabies and get a couple of new 12s in there?
Oh, I thought you were just going for the just cap them once so they have to play for Australia. Is that the?
That's for sure. Look, the possession and territory, 56-57 for the Brums, so slightly edging that one, but they ran 450 to 210 run meters, so it was quite one-sided in that regard. 33-9 tackle busts, 13-1 line break. So the force is really not threatening at all, to be honest. 10 offloads to 3 as well. So they were having a real crack with the ball and having some fun, the Brums. Tackle percentage, again, 92% for the Brumbies, 80% for the Force, really tells the story. Great lineouts for both sides, great scrums for both sides, although I did think that the Brums looked a little bit more solid in that area. Didn't quite get the dominance that I kind of predicted last week. I think the Brums still getting back to their best in that area.
Yeah, it's been surprising. They've just been slow in that area. We really expected them to just take everyone to school all season, but it just hasn't been the case.
It hasn't happened yet, a single game, I don't think.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Man of the match, fantasy man of the match, Tom Wright, 79 points with 131 metres from 15 runs, so huge metres, but lots of line breaks there. 4 tackle busts, 4 line breaks, 2 offloads, a try assist and a try, and as I said, a hand in 2 others as well, so it could have been even more. Pete Samu, 55 points, his best game of the year. Will Miller, 50 points, first start and looked awesome. I hope he keeps playing. Simone and Powell both got 46 points. And for the Force, Fergus Lee Warner got 51 points, and he just puts up huge scores every week without actually being seen. So he's a rock-solid fantasy player.
He's huge. He was one that I was hoping to pick up under the radar just because you love those locks who are also back rowers who just get through some work. But yeah, that's fan.
He's a former Western Sydney Rams man, so I was really hoping that I could get a hand on him, but it didn't happen, sadly.
Look at that, using the props on hand, using his surroundings. I love it. This would be the prime time for you to get your Horned Army beanies out again, but don't worry about it. It's fine.
I did think it, but the 1,500 of them, somehow one's not in this room.
Yeah, not within arm's reach anyway. No, very good. All right, and that takes us to the next Kiwi game, the Blues and the Chiefs. The Chiefs, who would have thunk it? Winless in 2020 2.0. The Blues taking this one out 21-17. Ridiculous. But injuries in this one, Solomon Alamalo, he scored a try and then had...
Pronounce that right.
No, wasn't loud enough. Yeah, there it is. He scored a try in the corner, great try. And then Caleb Clark kind of dived on him. And, Caleb Clark's not a small bloke. So I think he just popped his shoulder out by the looks of it. The way he was holding his arm when he was walking off the field, it looks like he dislocated his shoulder. I don't think we've...
I watched this game, but I don't remember seeing exactly how it happened. So I've got to go back and watch it.
It was literally he went in for a slide, slid over the try line, and then Caleb Clark chasing him down, just kind of very nonchalantly, just like dived on him and landed all his weight on his shoulder. And I don't know if he made him press it into the ground at a weird angle or something, but that's literally the only way he could have injured it. So that'll be a real bummer if that was it. But
well, that'd be disappointing if he has dislocated his shoulder, because you'd think his season to be most likely over with no finals, So very disappointing.
This is me with no medical experience here, but just the way that he put his arm in a kind of sling out of his jersey, and just the way he looked like it was supporting his shoulder, not just the arm.
I'm going to find it within the next minute anyway, so I'll come back to it.
Excellent. All right. You try to prove me wrong as quickly as possible. I like it.
I want to back you. I'm backing you.
No, very good, very good. All right, so this one, close game. Bowden Barrett, he's a 10. And how good is he?
Who'd have thought it?
Yeah, that's it. No one said that before. We haven't said that every week, but man, he looked good. So, unlucky us, Aotearoa Black, mate. I'm sorry, but you are relegated to the bench, son. You can't leave a Ferrari parked in the garage. You got the best 10 in the world. You got to play there.
Second best.
Second best? No, sorry. Okay, yeah, true. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. I can't back my own man here. Come on. Yeah. But no, the Lugius was Matt Duffy then. Matt Duffy is the beneficiary, getting to come in at fullback, and he certainly made up with for his opportunity. Scored the first try, just ran a beautiful line. I think in the slow-mo replay, it was complete no-look pass from Rico. So just all faith that Duffy was going to hit it perfectly. And he did. And it was, probably on about the halfway mark off the back of a scrum. Or maybe it was a line out, I can't remember. But, Duffy just went in pretty much untouched. I think he did get ankle tap just before the line. But a good 50-metre run in after an awesome line break. That's what you want to see.
I was going to say, mate, you said unlucky us, but seriously, it was a freakishly good line from Duffy.
Yeah.
So good.
Who? No, I was saying he's the luggy.
Sorry, he's luggy us for being picked in the side. But mate, he earned it. Within a few, I think his first touch, he dead set scored an absolute screamer.
True. No. Okay, look, it was very good. I'm not sure how much he did the rest of the game. Duffy doesn't excite me overly, but look, to be honest, if you're a fullback on the back of that Blues team, then yeah, you don't have to do much to get some pretty awesome opportunities. So
yeah,
he will be absolutely loving it. This game, the story of the game was basically, Blues discipline, absolutely terrible. They kept getting penalised. So they came out with a fast start, but they just kept getting penalised and just couldn't seem to get their hands on the ball for a decent period of time. They just kept letting the Chiefs back in it. But the Chiefs certainly weren't. I don't think we really saw any signs of the Chiefs that we saw at the start of last week's game, even though they lost against the Highlanders. You remember that first 20 when they came out and you didn't think anyone would beat them playing that way. They didn't come out with that same gusto this week. But yeah, I guess it wasn't the Blues' best game either.
I thought that they were back to their normal big physicality. Ofa Tu'ungafase, I thought was unbelievable.
Yeah,
Lotu as well, just so physical, so heavy running into the line and putting hits on the other side. Their physicality is at test match level, with the exception of last week. Every other game is Super Rugby Aotearoa. So, I thought that was the big telling difference between the two teams.
That's spot on. And Tuipulotu in his post-game speech just said that's what they really have worked at and prided themselves on is their defense. It's been a absolutely defense-first led team policy.
Yeah.
And I think they certainly miss Hoskins Tutu. I was going to ask anyone if they saw Blake Gibson do anything on the weekend, because I didn't notice he was even playing, basically. But in fact, I think Blake Gibson has grown his hair out. So he's now got really long hair and a beard so that he looks the same as Josh Goodhue and also Aaron Carroll, so that they don't know who is who, and hopefully they just pick him. That's what he's going for. I think that's his plan. but no, I think they're certainly missing Satutu. I saw Akira off the back of a scrum. He bolted off on a good run and then put a pretty awesome grubber through, showing some skills. So it was kind of if Satutu can do it, I can do it too. Kind of job, which was good.
Well, man, he's been getting a lot of praise, Akira, for his performance in the last couple of weeks, but I think he still works better at 6 with Hoskins at 8, to be fair. And Blake Gibson, like you said, Sim 8.
Yeah, no, I agree. But unlike Akira, who came out of the lockdown in absolute tip-top form, in absolute great shape, Big Carl, he did not. Look, he had a few stray buckets of KFC, and that's perhaps why he hasn't been starting. Still looks,
that
mate. He was lumbering around the field, mate.
Carl was coming back from injury.
No.
That's why he didn't play early.
He's come back from KFC, mate. They say injury. It was KFC.
Right.
I tell you, mate. I tell you. No, you could tell easily. He's lumbering around, but in the set piece, he was absolutely crushing it. Though when he came on, that made a huge difference. The Chiefs were getting the upper hand in the scrums in the first half, but with Big Carl on, he was taking them back to school. So
I hope he doesn't start next week because I've got Alex Hodgman, but Carl was very good.
He was solid.
Can confirm, mate, that's a shoulder all day long for Solomon Alamolo. I think you're spot on.
Excellent. So there we go. I know. Did you just go back and pull up the tape, mate, or you found a source?
Up on KO, despite it being mislabeled, found it.
Very good. Yeah, all right. In this one, look, basically, probably been talking too long. The big call at the end of the game, Peter Gus, that was huge. With the reverse angle that we didn't see during the game, I only saw afterwards, it looked like he was almost there. You know what I mean? Like
he reached out for the line and held on to it too long. Like he overcommitted to try and score that try. But mate, Goodhue was so illegal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was lying all over the ball. He was the tackler as well. If you rewatch, so had absolutely no rights.
I think Patrick Tuipulotu was the main tackler.
Yeah, but Goodhue was a tackler though. Oh well.
I think he came straight in after, but he was. I don't know. I thought it was dodgy as.
Yeah. But yeah, so it was pretty much story of the game. The Blues defense did it. Let's quickly smash through the stats. There's nothing that really stood out. I mean, both tackles were about 90%-ish. Pretty even in all the stats. So fantasy, the penalties was the only one, as we said. So 14 to the Blues and 6 to the Chiefs in the yellow card. Fantasy, we had fantasy man of the match tied Beauden Barrett, 55 points, 13 runs, 4 offloads, 4 tackle busts, 1 line break, 3 conversions. Kurt Eklund, 55 points, 13 tackles, 7 runs, offload, and 7 lineouts, 1. Duffy, 49 points, Hodgman, 47, Christie, 46, and Weber, 47. Which Christie?
Finlay. Played well, mate. Very good.
He was playing very well. All right, and that rounds out our reviews.
As well, mate. He doesn't play for the Blues or the Chiefs.
That's true. That's why I was confused.